Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chris, and I'm dialing in from Johannesburg, South Africa. And welcome to the LifeWave Conversation Plan training on the 14th of March. Yes, we're March. This time is flying. And tonight we've got Paige Matthews dialing in from Belgium tonight. And the funny thing is, we had coffee yesterday in Johannesburg, and his Page all of a sudden 24 hours later in Belgium. And yeah, we had the privilege of meeting Paige end of last year. Sorry, beginning of this year. It was like probably the end of January. And let me tell you something, more passion you will not find. You will not find. Uh, Paige is a qualified chartered accountant, qualified CA, and with climbing the corporate ladder, doing very well, and LifeWave crossed her path. And she just saw the compensation plan, and because of her being a CA, a chartered accountant, understands numbers and figures, saw this compensation plan and went, "Oh my hat, this is the way the world should be running." And she just took everything in and completely internalized it. And Paige said that I would love to do a training on the compensation plan because she's dug deep and really broken it down. And there's a lot of different clips that we can watch on the compensation plan. In fact, I did one end of last year. Um, our upline leaders, Mark Hernandez, Stephen Gina, they've done beautiful compensation plan clips. But what I love about this industry is where we've got so many people with so many different backgrounds stepping up to the plate and saying, "I'd like to teach on this, I'd like to train on that." And what will happen is, how many times have you watched something done by somebody and it goes over your head and you don't have a clue? The person could have been talking Greek. You haven't got a clue what's going on. Then you got a different person talking about the same subject material, and all of a sudden the pennies drop and you go, "Oh my word, how come I didn't get it the first time?" It's the same material, just said in a different way. Look at it when we were in school. Um, School teachers, how many times did you not do well at a certain subject for a year, and then you moved to the next grade, and all of a sudden you had a different school teacher teaching the same subject, and all of a sudden everything just gelled. And that's what it's all about. We all help and teach each other. So I'm going to be handing over to Paige, who's going to be talking about the compensation plan. Tonight is part one, where she's going to be talking about binary specifically. So binary, we all know, means two. And, I've seen a lot of network marketing compensation plans in my life. And let me tell you, the compensation plan we have, coupled with this amazing product. I call this compensation plan the eighth wonder of the world in the network marketing industry. It's the most simple yet most effective compensation plan I've ever seen. And I think Paige is going to tell us why. And I think a lot of pennies are going to drop tonight. So, Paige, over to you.
Thank you, Chris. That was such a lovely introduction. I hope I can live up to everything that you have said about me, but I'm going to try. Um, I get sometimes emotional because I'm just so overwhelmed at how wonderful this LifeWave journey has been so far. And I really hope that tonight will be an opportunity for me to just spread some of that with all of you. And so thank you for making the time. There are lots of people on the call tonight whose names I don't recognize, many that I do. So, as Chris mentioned, my name is Paige, and I am a qualified chartered accountant. But when LifeWave crossed my path, I sort of just went in a full 180 and I was like, this needs all of my attention. So that is what has been happening in my life for the last 2 months. And I don't regret it for a moment. It's been a great journey and a wonderful learning experience, even for me. Um, I I thought tonight I would try to share the compensation plan because I know how much I benefited from the same training that I received from Sandy Feast a few weeks ago. And I thought, this is something that we have to keep on sharing. As the team grows, we have more and more people who need to know about this plan. I also thought I would just quickly take a moment to just address and perhaps speak about some of the very upsetting and I think negative comments that were made on our WhatsApp group earlier this week. And I just want to reiterate what some of the people on our team have said around keeping LifeWave and that WhatsApp group a positive space and a positive experience. And that's because so many of us are working so hard to build businesses out of this and to share with as many people the wide range of benefits that we have in our hands. And one person speaking from a place of negativity, coupled with speaking from a place of misinformation, does so much damage. And I think that us saying we'd like to keep the space positive is not an attempt to silence people who might have concerns or negative experiences. By all means, bring those forward and let us help you and work together. But I think it's important that it's done with the right intention and that it is not done with intention to cause destruction. So I just wanted to reiterate that. And I want to also say that all I'm going to be speaking about tonight is the business side of LifeWave. So I just want all of you to be prepared that I'm not here to speak about the product, and I am here to speak about how to make money. And so if you were hoping to hear about the product, this is not the call for that. But this doesn't mean that the only element there is to LifeWave is making money. We're just focusing and honing in on a very specific context tonight. With that, I'm going to get started. I'm going to share screen. As we go, I'm sure that there will be questions. So I'm going to ask if we can put questions in the chat. And as people on the team are perhaps able to help me in responding to some of them, go ahead. But then at the end, if there are questions that I haven't answered, I will try my best to manage the chat and the slides in the best way that I can. As many of us know, and it's okay if you don't, because that's what tonight is about, but there are 4 ways to earn an income within the LifeWave business plan. Tonight, I am focusing only on earning income mechanism number 3, being binary commissions. So retail profits and PIB are relatively straightforward, but if you feel that you do need help with them, you can reach out to me. My number is on the group. You will also have your respective uplines and we can talk about it. But just to put you into context, tonight I'm speaking about binary commissions. Next week, I will speak about matching bonuses. All righties. Before we start, I'm going to just begin with a few key terminologies or phrases that we use in the network marketing space, just so that you're familiar with them, but I'm also going to try and help them hit home for you. So the most important one that you will hear me speaking about tonight is something called volume. And what volume represents is essentially points. So all of us will be quite familiar with the concept of walking into Pick n Pay, buying, I don't know, a bag of apples, and earning points on your Smart Shopper card for having purchased that bag of apples. With LifeWave and with the various products that there are available, it works in exactly the same way. So your X39 and your X49 have 77 points associated with each sleeve. And then your supplementary products have 55, 47, and 39 points associated with each sleeve, depending on whether you are purchasing 1, 2, or 3 sleeves at a time. So that is something to bear in mind as we go through this. And as we think about the best ways to optimize our business structures and how we are structuring our points, just to bear in mind that if you're purchasing 3 sleeves of a supplementary product, that is not giving you the same number of points as it would have if you had purchased 1. We then have the concept of personal volume and business volume. So this one sounds complicated, but the more I interact with it, the more I realize that it is what it says on the tin. So your personal volume represents the points that you have earned from sleeves that you yourself have purchased. And your business volume represents points that are accruing within your broader team as a result of purchases made by the people that you've enrolled and the people that they have enrolled. So that's an important one to understand. Personal volume is points accruing to me on purchases that I make myself. Business volume is points accruing within the team as a result of purchases made by people I've signed up and people that they have then signed up. Active status and monthly subscription order. Active status, I think, is something that many of us perhaps don't quite understand the meaning of. When we refer to active status, we are referring to a person who has a 55 PV personal volume, so 55 points per month that are arising from purchases of patches that they are making themselves, okay? So in order for me to be considered active, I need to be purchasing patches worth 55 points. 55 points is equivalent to 1 supplementary sleeve. Active status is important in the context of binary commissions, but it is not important in the context of retail profits and product introductory bonus. You can be inactive, but introducing people to the product and still earning your product introductory bonus. Many people in my team have felt or been confused by the fact that if they were to fall into an inactive status, all of the LifeWave investment that they've made and the opportunities available to them fall away. And I'm just correcting that to say that that is not true. Active status impacts what you are earning from your binary commissions, not what you are earning from retail profits or what you are earning from product introductory bonus. Monthly subscription order is a mechanism that we can use to help us maintain that active status by almost setting in place an auto order. So every month within your back office, you can place an automatic order that ensures you never lose your active status. And I will address why that's important as we go through. And I'll also show you how to set up a monthly subscription order. Okay, so when we talk binary and binary commissions, let's think about what that means. As Chris mentioned, binary refers to 2. And within the LifeWave business plan, there are only 2 teams that each of us can build. We refer to those teams as your left and your right leg, but if you referred to them as Team A and Team B, that would be exactly the same concept. And when you want to capitalize on your ability to earn binary commissions, there are certain key structures and key steps that need to be in place for you to do that. Your starting point is to become what we call binary qualified. To be binary qualified, there are 3 things that you need to be achieving. You need to have 1 person enrolled on your left leg, 1 person enrolled on your right leg. And when I say enrolled, I'm talking about as a brand partner. So either having joined using a bronze package or anything above that. So 1 left, 1 right, and then you yourself need to be active at your 55 points volume. And so again, just to reiterate, that's one supplementary sleeve per 31-day period. So that's what we mean when we say binary commissions. At this level, you are now able to start tapping into earning cycling bonuses, which I'm going to explain. But just before we do that, I want to make sure that every one of us has a baseline understanding of how we structure our teams. I think it's very easy to understand that you've got team 1 and team 2. But I think that where some people get confused is in understanding how that team is impacted when your personal enrollments start to enroll their own people. So if, let's say, I'm at the top, I'm Paige, and I enroll Chris on my left leg. Chris represents a blue circle to me because he is my personal sign-up. Chris now flies and signs up Lucinda. I didn't sign up Lucinda, but because Chris falls within my team, it is a natural consequence of that Chris's team falls within my team. So you can almost think of it as those, I think they're those little Russian dolls where you keep opening them and there's another doll inside. And essentially, the most outer doll represents you, and those little dolls on the inside represent the teams of the people that you have signed up. So your red circles are represented by people who are within your team, but who have not been personally enrolled by you. Wonderfully, this structure can run to an unlimited depth. So what that means is that LifeWave doesn't say, okay, Paige, once you have enrolled 5 people on your left leg and 5 people on your right leg, we've now capped out or we've maxed out the number of people in your team. No, that is not how this works. So you can be adding people to your team, and the people you've enrolled can be adding to your team indefinitely for as long as you choose to participate in the LifeWave business model. And I will highlight it now as we go on, but that's very important for what it means for your earning power once you start becoming binary qualified. When we think about, so we understand now that all of us have 2 teams, and that Chris is within my team. But just to remember and highlight that Chris himself has 2 teams. He also has a left and a right leg. What you can see from this depiction over here is that Chris and I will always have one leg in common. So if Chris represents the blue circle at the top, I signed Chris up on my left leg. Chris's left leg, therefore, inadvertently overlaps with my left leg. His right leg remains his, but every person who is enrolled in the LifeWave structure shares a leg in common with the person who signed them up. So that's just something to bear in mind. We then start thinking about, we understand the concept of points, and we now understand that the points are essentially generated every time a sleeve of patches is sold. But it's important to understand the role that those points play within the team. And so when we look at a structure like this, in my very corporate training, we call this a waterfall structure. And we can think of the points, the LifeWave points, as following a similar waterfall structure. And I say that because even if Chris's enrollment, so the first red dot on the left leg, who is not my enrollment, it's Chris's, if that person, let's call them Lucinda, places an order for, let's say the order equates to 200 points, those points flow up. And I'm going to say that again. When someone in your downline places an order that attracts points, the points accrued by that person do not only accrue to them, they accrue as well to the people in that person's upline. So Lucinda places an order for 220 points. Those points get included in the calculation of Chris's business volume points for that particular week or month, but they also get included in my calculation of business volume points for that particular week. So points flow up. And it's important just to know and to highlight that Lucinda does not forfeit any portion of those points or sacrifice any portion of those points in order for them to flow up and accrue to Chris and myself. 100% of those points accrue to the upline, to each person in the upline. So that's just something that's important to understand. Once we now are familiar with the concept of points, we start thinking about how we are going to monetize our points. And so what LifeWave has done is they've said, in order to capitalize on the points that you are generating within your business volume, okay, so I'm going to repeat that. In order to monetize the points that you are generating in your business volume, not your personal volume, you need to be hitting certain minimum thresholds. And the minimum thresholds that apply are 660 points on one leg and 330 points on the other leg. And so you need to hit both of those targets at any given point in time in order for a cycle to happen. So cycling happens when both of your teams, so your left leg and your right leg, are hitting the required minimums. It doesn't matter which leg is hitting which minimum, as long as there is 660 points on one leg and 330 points on the other leg. When you do that, you have done what we call a cycle. And each cycle that we go through accrues to us $50 US. And that is what we call a cycle bonus or a binary commission income. Let's say you have a particularly strong left leg, and that left leg is accruing 1,600 business volume points. Here we're calling it a power leg, but like I said, the terminology is not super crucial. What's important is that it's team 1 and team 2. And then on your other leg, you are generating 560 points. You can see that mathematically on your left leg, you could actually cycle twice because 660 could go into that 1.6 twice. But in this context, I am limited by the fact that my right leg or my profit leg can only cycle once because the 330 is only going to fit into there one time. And so here I would cycle once despite having more than enough points to cycle a second time on one leg while I wait for the second leg to catch up. Amazingly though, our points do what we call carry over. So if, for example, my left leg is doing really well, I've cycled, but I've still got 970 points. I do not lose those points now that a cycle has happened, but I wasn't able to use all of those points. Those points sit there and they wait until the second leg, or the profit leg in this case, catches up. And so that's something that I will demonstrate to you on a back office in a little while. But the point that I'm trying to make is that you do not lose your points if you cycle and you have excess points remaining at the end of that cycle. I'm just quickly going to check the chat to see if there are any questions. Okay, Lucinda, I think you have answered. Thank you. Okay, so that's where we are now. We understand the concept of cycling. It's 660 points on one leg in conjunction with 330 points on the other leg. And like I said, any excess volume is retained for the next cycle. This is just a really good diagrammatic representation of what I was explaining earlier, where you will have one leg that is generating volumes well in excess of the minimums that I mentioned, and another leg that in some ways is almost sort of always playing catch up. I am in a similar position at the moment where my one leg is very strong, and I am trying to build the other leg so that I'm able to generate the points that I need to tap into the earnings potential that is sitting on my left leg. We are familiar now with the concept of carryover volume, and cycles run weekly. And so what that means is that in a Sunday to Sunday window, you can cycle a specific number of times, and I'll explain that as well. It's coming up in a little while. But in a Sunday to Sunday window, your back office is going to automatically calculate the binary commissions accrued to you based on the number of points you're holding at that point in time. And then when the next week begins, any points that haven't been used in week 1 will be carried over and available to use in cycling for week 2. What is critical, absolutely critical, is that you remain in active status. So active status is your 55 personal volume points per 31-day period. If you fail to maintain active status in one particular month, for example, you forgot to place your monthly order, you lose the points that have accrued to you up until that point in time. And so that is why I think it's important that we are making use of monthly subscription orders and maintenance kits, because there are often times where all of us are too busy and lots is going on, and it may slip your mind that you needed to place your monthly order. Also relevant, considering that many of us have joined at a point in time in the month that isn't synchronized with month end. So for me, for example, on a random 14th of March, I'm not necessarily thinking about my month-end admin and the things that I need to do to pay and get ready for the next month. Something like that would definitely slip my mind. So you retain your points for up to a year as long as you are in active status every single month. If you have not used or cycled the points that are available to you or within a 12-month window, the next 12 months or the next year begins, and you start to lose those points on a pro rata weekly basis. They don't all disappear at once, but just to bear in mind that you need to monitor your active status, and you do want to be working really hard to cycle those points within a 12-month window before you run the risk of losing them. Spillover must be one of my favorite concepts in the world. We now understand that every person on this call, every person who is a brand partner has one leg in common with their upline. Whether that's the right leg or the left leg depends on how your upline signed you up, and it's irrelevant, but there is one leg in common. What that means is that if I'm Chris's upline, which I'm definitely not, but let's just be imaginative for a moment. If I'm Chris's upline and Chris is on my left leg, let's say, And he has now occupied that specific position, being this little blue dot over here. And he's done a few signups, being these red dots. I now happen to have an individual who I need to sign up. The question becomes, well, where am I going to put them? Because I've only got this leg. Let's say I'm specifically building my left leg. I've only got this leg in which to place them. But the next available position in this leg happens to be below people that Chris have already signed up. And that is the concept of spillover. Spillover means someone has occupied a position that is below you in the downline, but they are not your sign up. And what that means is that this new brand partner here at the bottom, who Chris has no idea who that person is, the BV or the volumes that that person generates flow upwards in the waterfall structure and create a spillover whereby Chris is benefiting from points that that person is generating despite having no idea who that person is and despite having played no role in signing that person up. And that, guys, is the power of this earning model. Once you understand that, you understand that you are able to earn not only by who you personally sign up, but by who your upline signs up and by who the people who you've enrolled sign up. And that is where this becomes an absolute machine in terms of generating points that you are able to cycle. And so your team can grow rapidly with people who you don't know and people who you didn't sign up. But because of the position that they occupy on the downline structure, you benefit from the points that they generate when they buy patches. Okie dokies. A quick terminology recap. Volume, we are going to think of volume like points we earn on buying bags of apples at Pick and Pay. Sleeves have different point volumes associated with them. You have your personal volume, which is volume generated from patches that you buy, and your business volume, which is points generated from patches bought by your signups and their signups. We then have the concept of ranks, which I think we all see many people progressing through the ranks on the WhatsApp group, which is wonderful. And what I want to do is highlight the relevance of ranks. And so I spoke earlier about being binary qualified, which was you and at least one bronze enrollment on each of your legs, in addition to being in active status. If you were to come into LifeWave and say that is as interested as I am in participating in signing people up, that would be fine, as long as you maintained your active status and those two people were generating enough points for you to hit the 660 and the 330 minimums. You would be able to earn a maximum of $100 per week. So that's 2,000 Rand per week in binary commissions. And so that's the cap for someone who's only enrolled 2 people. If you are, like many of us on this call are, trying to enroll far more than 2 people, you then progress from not only being binary qualified, but to hopefully being a manager. And a manager is essentially someone who's binary qualified, but on steroids. And so in order to reach a manager rank, you need to have enrolled personally 2 silver people or 2 silver sponsorships on each of your legs. And here, your personal volume requirement goes from 55 to 110 personal volume points in a 31-day period. So 2 left, 2 right, each of which need to be silver, and you yourself need to be earning 110 points. Your sponsorships, your silvers, need to be active, earning 55 points. Once you're able to achieve this structure within your downline, your earnings cap goes from $100 per week to 1,500 US dollars per week. And so that is why if you attend a call with pretty much anyone, they will tell you that our goal needs to be becoming a manager making machine. And that's because of the massive jump in earnings power that you are able to tap into once you qualify as a manager. 1,500 US dollars per week is the cap then works on a, like I mentioned, you cycle weekly, Sunday to Sunday, and that means you would be cycling 30 times per week. If I were to take 1,500 and divide it by $50 per cycle, that is 30 cycles per week. There is a very big distinction, and it's something that I owe Sandy Feast credit to for driving home with me. There is a very big distinction between your active or inactive status and your rank. So when we're speaking about someone who's a manager, a director, senior presidential director, we are referring to their rank. We are not referring to whether they are active or inactive by virtue of their 55 minimum points requirement. And so I initially was worried that what if I was active, but for some reason I lost my managerial rank? What would happen to my earnings power as far as my points go? And so this is an important thing to understand. If you become inactive, you lose your points. However, if you lose your rank for whatever reason, perhaps one of these silver signups does not meet the minimum required 55 points, that sign up will become inactive and you would lose your manager rank. But losing your rank does not mean you lose your points. And so that's a very big distinction between losing rank and losing your active status. Losing rank really just means that the cap on your earnings comes down. However, it's not irreversible. You could sign up another silver and they could be active and you could then tap into that 1,500 earnings cap again because your points haven't gone anywhere. However, if you become inactive, you lose your points. And even if you reactivate yourself subsequent to becoming inactive, you will not get those points accrued back to you. They are lost. And so I think that's just something important that Sandy helped me with. So thank you, Sandy, for that. When we then think about progressing through the ranks, there are a few changes or growths really that needs to happen within the structure of your teams. And essentially, you need to be gold. You need to be a gold at a gold enrollment level. You need to have 2 personally sponsored silver people, but you also need to have 2 managers, 1 on each leg. And if you're able to achieve that within your team structure, you then progress to a director rank. Importantly here, the concept of becoming a machine is so crucial because in order to achieve this team structure, you really don't have to do anything except help the people that you are enrolling to make manager themselves. Once they make managers, you almost inadvertently make director by virtue of having managers in your team. So I hope that makes sense. Again, just going to double check the chat. Okay, great. Looks like most of that is responded to. All right. So the addition of 2 managers to your team is what will move you from a manager to a director. Once you progress to a director level, you can see that your commission or your binary commission cap goes up from 1,500 US dollars per week to 2,500 US dollars per week. I want to pause here because I think that this is where being strategic about how you build your legs is very, very important. I have often spoken to people who are talking me through how they plan on structuring their legs. And they, for example, have had a left leg that is silver, silver, and then a manager with 4 silvers below them. And they are now working on their next enrollment. But they're not paying attention to what their legs are looking like. And mistakenly want to sign their next enrollment up on the left leg. Now, the left leg is not the leg that needs additional enrollments in order to meet qualification to become director. And so if you are not thinking and actively monitoring your back office and the settings in your back office as to which leg you are building, you could be 1 enrollment away from making director and then sign this person up on the wrong leg. And even though you would then have the correct number of people to make director, because your legs are not balanced, you would miss out on that opportunity. Sorry, I just need to drink some water. So I hope I've made that clear and that I've explained that well enough, that you can be doing very well in terms of your numbers, but if you are not strategic as to where you place your enrollments within your teams, you may be limiting yourself from progressing to a new rank with a higher earnings power. Senior director is the last one that I'm going to speak through for the moment. This goes all the way through to senior presidential. But once you are in a position where your team structure looks as it needs to qualify as senior director, you then essentially have the team structure in place to progress all the way through to SPD. What changes in terms of the requirements to progress through the ranks from here on is not the structure of your team, it's your business volume. And so that is this last point over here that says you need to have a business volume of 10,000 points through your line of sponsorship in a 31-day period. Once you move on to executive director, you can see that the team structure hasn't changed, but you now need to have 50,000 business volume points through your line of sponsorship in a 31-day period. And so that business volume number increases as you move through the ranks. Excuse me. I'm going to stop here as far as the ranks go. The objective of going through this was just to highlight what the requirements are at the very minimum to make manager, to highlight the importance of helping your enrollments make manager, because that will naturally lead to you progressing through the ranks. And then to pay attention every time you do a sign up as to which of your 2 legs that person is going to land up on. What I'd like to do now, it's not in the slides, but I would like to go on to, I'm using my mom's back office with her consent, but I would like to show you in her back office an example of managing your points and meeting those minimum point requirements. So if we have a look, most of us should be familiar with what our back offices look like. But if you have a look at my mom's left leg, she is generating cycle points for this week, being the period left volume. And she's also got a total of 11,600 points on her left leg that have rolled forward each week. So this 11,600 is her cumulative total, and that continues to grow each week. The problem that my mom has at the moment is that her right leg isn't doing a whole lot. And so she's not able to tap into the earnings power sitting in this 11,000 points because her right leg is lagging very far behind. And so in this case, her focus would be very strongly on building her right leg so that she can generate volumes that will enable her to start cycling using the points on her left leg. I just want to also highlight there may be people who know, but there also may be people who don't, exactly the steps that you need to follow to change the settings that your leg, for which leg is being built. So what you will do to do that is you're going to click on your name. You are going to click on change settings. And then you are going to scroll down a fair amount, almost to halfway through the page, where you will see what is your binary placement preference when you begin sponsoring new members. And so here you will be able to see what your current setting is. So if you were to enroll someone right now, my mom is set to build right. But if for whatever reason you wanted to change that, this is where you would do that. If, however, you are not too worried about building left or right specifically, you just want to be building the leg that is the strongest at that point in time, strongest being measured by the number of points that that leg is generating. You could just change your setting to build strong leg outside. And in that case, every time you enroll someone, your system will automatically place them on whichever leg is generating the highest number of business volume points at that point in time. But if you are in your early stages, I would strongly recommend actively monitoring whether it's left or right and choosing those consciously. I also mentioned that we would speak about maintenance orders and monthly subscription orders. So each of us have an option here in our store tab to have a look at maintenance kits. And what these maintenance kits offer you is a well-priced bulk order or bulk payment that will ensure your back office maintains a certain number of points each month. For you can choose a 6 months option or a 3 months option. So for example, if you have now made manager and you want to maintain that rank, you could come into this maintenance kit option and say, I want pack 2 because it's showing me here that pack 2 generates 117 business volume points. And I know that I need 110 to be able to maintain my manager rank. You could then purchase this, and for 6 months, your points would be taken care of. What can be difficult with some people as far as maintenance kits go is that this amount goes off your bank in one foul swoop. So even though it's a monthly maintenance of your points, the amount is going to go off at once. So the alternative to your maintenance kit then becomes to set a monthly subscription order, which you can, there's a number of ways that you can do it, but I would typically go to my patches. I would select whatever I like, bearing in mind the number of points associated with each sleeve. And as you progress through the purchasing steps on your back office, there will be an option to set that as an automated monthly order. And in that case, the amount will go off of your card monthly, as opposed to the whole order going off at at once. So, sorry, let me just say that again. If you do that, and let's say you've purchased one sleeve of X39, $100 will go off of your bank every month, but you're not going to be in a situation where there will be a bulk amount going off up front, which is the case with the maintenance kits. So just to highlight that distinction, you can do obviously whatever suits you and your budget best. The last thing that I will just quickly highlight is the mechanism in which you are able to change your payment methods. So, for example, if you've signed up a person and they've used a particular bank card to do that, and down the line circumstances change, they need to add another card as a way of making payments. The way to do that is to click on their name, change settings, payment methods, and in the payment methods window, you will have the opportunity to edit or delete a particular card that you might have. Alternatively, you can add a completely new card. And so that's just something that I have found helpful, especially when people have struggled with banks or limits or international transactions. Sometimes it's just easier for them to use a whole separate card. And so this is where they can do that. I'm just checking. Sorry, I had a list of things written down that I wanted to go through because not all of it was in the slides. I think I have covered everything from my side. I am myself surprised that I've managed to get through all of that with 7 minutes to spare. Are there any people who would like to post something in the chat that I can speak through now? Or Chris and Lucinda, if you guys have been monitoring the chat, has there been anything that's come up that you would like us to address now quickly?
Yeah, I think minimize your screen, and then anybody that might have some questions, maybe they can put their hand up. But let me tell you, you have done a fantastic job. My goodness, I think you've covered a lot of things where a lot of people have had some questions. So I'm just having a look if anybody wants to put their hand up. Let's look here. Oh, somebody was asking a question. Lucinda just asked me. I tried maintenance pack CX39. Okay, so Julie, with the maintenance pack on the, what do you call it, on the toolbox, you'll see, just go to the index and you can see the different options of the different maintenance packs. And it says there one for the supplementary and one for the X39, and it shows you all the point value that you will have for a 3-month or 6-month period. So there is a page that I've written all those points down there. So have a look at that. That is on the toolbox, in the toolbox.
And then I think is it Brigitte? I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Forgive me if
Brigitte from Switzerland. There we
I.
go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Paige. That was really excellent. I loved it. I just want to go back to binary qualified because I've run into that problem on my side myself, and I've had that question and we've been discussing it back and forth. So I think it's quite important to stress. So you want your downline, your people who want to do the business to become binary qualified to start with. So one on the right, one on the left, and they're good to go. Now, I've had the situation that I became director because I've had the managers and they've signed up their people, and then their people all stopped buying. So they lost the manager, I lost the director, lost the thing. But 2 of my so-called managers are not even binary qualified anymore, even though they've got a whole shoot of people signed up because none of those people are active anymore. So I think it's very important to stress that to stay qualified, becoming qualified is the one thing, but to stay qualified in any situation, you need at least one person on your right and one person on your left to stay and be active at all time. Otherwise, you will lose the binary qualification and therefore the cycle bonus.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that is where I'm trying to come in and help my people. And I have to sometimes think for them because they haven't realized that. So instead of somebody then going and buying platinum or upgrading to platinum, it would be better for them to do a maintenance kit and stay active for 6 months. That would keep their upline manager, and so forth. So I think because I found different slides, and the first slide you showed, it doesn't state active. And then further down the line, I've looked up, because we've had that debate. Do they just have to have one on the right, one on the left, and they're flying? Or do they have to have, these people have to stay active? Not just you. I mean, obviously you have to stay active, but those two binary openers, starters, have to also be active. And I think that's sometimes tricky when you're starting.
Yes. No, 100%. You've hit the nail on the head. So when we speak about you needing to remain active to have a binary qualification, it's important that the people in your downline are also active. And that is where this becomes more like a business and less like just purchasing something online. Because it requires investment and helping and coaching the people in your downline. And I think perhaps not everybody is business minded or has the capacity to think about LifeWave particularly strategically. But it's important that for those of us in the uplines who are able to bring that insight into the downlines, that we are sharing that and we are reiterating that message. Because it has to be a collective effort for all of us to keep benefiting in the long term. Thank you, Brigitte.
Thanks.
Yeah, also I'd like to just add on to something there. Something that's very important is people need to be a product with a product. So, people need to be using the product themselves, which is so important. How can you promote or share a product or a business if you are not using the patches yourself? So if you think about it, if the person goes, oh, the minimum of a sleeve a month, you should be using at least a sleeve of patches
I
for
completely agree.
yourself every month anyway. So that to me is actually that's an obvious, that's quite a logical thing that people should be using the product themselves. And I can't wait for Wilson's words of wisdom. I had an idea that Wilson's hand was going to pop up.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hello, good. How are you?
I miss you guys, man. Yeah, in the garden route, it's been a beautiful experience, and yeah, can't wait to get back and just hang with all of you. There's a few things I just want to say. Firstly, Paige, your training was incredible. The way you dissected everything, it made me understand it better, and I understand this thing properly, but there's certain things you touch on that's very important. And I love this point that am I pronouncing it right? Brigitte. It's not Bridget.
Sheet.
Okay. I love the point that she made. When I started building this business, I was still learning, and I made a couple mistakes. And I put a lot of people on my weaker leg. I'm quite grateful for that as well, because now there's like volume going like crazy, but I could be executive director. I could get there quickly if I balanced my business building. So something I'd like to mention, if you look at the math of the 660 points on the one side the 330 points on the other. If you do the math, it's a 2/3 binary. What that means is you should be spending 60% of your energy on your weaker leg, but you cannot forget your strong leg. If I did that in the beginning, I'd be through the ranks. And that's just the point that I wanted to make. Don't just build your weaker leg. You need to also give attention on the other side. When it comes to binary qualification, the best way to keep it is just to bring people into the business all the time. Some people are going to move, others are not going to move. Some people use the product, some stop using it. The only way to mitigate that is just to stay active and patch people. Now, I have many people in my network that's coming in at a starter package and crushing it off the bat. And that's fine. If it's a financial thing, get in on a starter. Start bringing people in. But get this ball rolling quickly on both your legs so you can get to that gold status. I have a person now that's about to upgrade to gold that started at starter. So it is possible. The moment you manager, then this thing becomes an absolute animal. So I get it. In the beginning, it takes a bit of work. And I was on a brilliant call with Javi yesterday where he activated a couple people. And the one thing he asked everybody is, are you willing? It's how he started the presentation. If you are willing, then just take action and be selective where you're putting the people. Don't just throw them on the one side. Don't just throw them on the weaker side. Build it equally. Start moving with the people, and organically, these ranks just start happening. And you need one person on each leg that just moves. If a person moves, he's going to have enough funds to activate this account every month. And Chris nailed it on the head. We need to be a proof of this product. I wish you guys could see what my face looked like a year ago. People ask me, what is going on? There's not a single wrinkle on your face. You look like 10 years younger. My hair is filling up here. I mean, can't throw my hair back yet, but it's coming. And this is a really big part of this. And what's happened in my business in the last 8 weeks is nuts. I'm still trying to process it. There's so much traction happening, and this binary is an animal. A person can come in 100 levels down in your business. That means a person signing a person signing a person 100 levels deep, and that guy brings 1,000 people, and all that volume counts. Everybody up until where you are. And I'm only now seeing the power of that. And all we need to focus on is getting a person moving on each leg. And if a person moves, they know how to sign people up, and these ranks then stay open. What I've been doing now is I'm telling people, maintenance back 3 months. You even get a discount. It's $10 cheaper a sleeve. It's $269. And since I've been duplicating that, my manager stays open. My director is about to stay open. When I get to my senior director, that's going to stay open. And then I'm just going to fly all the way to SPD, and my target is by the end of the year. And that's what I've been doing just to make sure that I don't get demoted, because I know it hurts that first time when you're a manager and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm not a manager. That just shows you just keep on rocking it. Just keep on duplicating. Just get the people to duplicate. Just on this note, here's my brother Chris on the call. Guys, I don't think you understand how much this guy does for our community. He's created a toolbox that can answer almost 90% of the questions that we deal with on a daily basis. And everybody here on this call are leaders because you want to learn about the compensation plan. Please use that tool set. Before you phone me or Chris or anybody, even your upline, go to the toolbox and see if you can't get the answer there. That's going to free up the leaders' times. That's going to make sure they can focus on the people where it's needed. And we are going to do a training just on that, because I think we spoon feeding people a bit, and then our time is getting less and less, and we can't focus on our businesses. And then these ranks are also starting to just disappear because we can't focus on our own things because we're trying to help everybody else. So I just wanted to say thank you for this training, and I can't wait for every single person on this call to see the power of what this compensation plan can do. Guys, I've 5x my earnings in an 8-week period. How did I do it? By walking into the footsteps like Chris, like Javi and George. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel to do online marketing and generate leads and build funnels. We're patching people, we're doing patch parties, and the magic just happens organically. And that's all we need to do here. It's not rocket science. You stick this thing on someone, they're going to want it. I patched somebody this morning, a business finder meeting. In 3 minutes, her pain went away. That's the power of X39. It's not even an ice wave. I'm like, let's see if this thing works. It might work quickly. 3 minutes. She's like, what is this? And that is what I want you guys to focus on. Get to a point where you can afford a sleeve, start using that sleeve and sticking these things on people. Then you're not going to worry about solidifying your ranks. You keep focusing on that, this thing just mushrooms by itself. So yeah, that's my 2 cents there.
Thank you, Wilson.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, and congrats, honestly.
I can't wait to share this with my team because you just nailed everything. The maintenance packs, the monthly subscription orders. I mean, you didn't leave anything out. I can't wait for the next training because I'm starting to see the power of matching bonus, and that's even more exciting than the binary. So yeah, you guys are in the right place at the right time with the right support structure. All we need to please do is use the tools Chris has put in place for us. We need to do that. And everything is on the table. Just go look for it. All the info you need is there. So guys, thank you so much, and can't wait to just see you guys in person. It's now been too long. It's been 3 weeks this side of the world. My kids phoned me yesterday. They're like, Dad, I miss you. You need to come home now. I'm like, don't worry. 1 more week. Just going to sort out some of the leaders that we got on here and get them going. And very excited for us all just to hang a bit when we get there. Chris, you also on the road again? You need to come home. We need
tomorrow. Yeah, no, leaving
everybody else for lunch, and let's just spend some time together, not online. So yeah, I just wanted to give you 2 cents there. I hope you guys have an amazing week further. And again, that training was incredible. Can't wait to share it.
Thank you, Wilson. Heloise, I see we have your hand up. I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Hi, thank you, Paige. Thanks for the training. It was so methodical. I love that. I still just want to understand why we have 2 legs, and you know, what is the thought behind that, firstly, and you know, if one leg is weaker, why couldn't we shuffle and take people out of the strong?
Let me jump in and explain it very quickly.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so the network marketing industry, as we know, has been around for 136 years, right? And there's been a lot of advancements in the industry. Now, the old way was called unilevel. Now, what unilevel typically was if I sign up Paige, I sign her up as a personal, and she's building her team, and she starts running it down. Then I sign up Wayne, and he's on his own running it down. I sign up Wilson, and he's got his own business. So you're building separate little business structures on its own. So typically in the past, I'm going to use the word ring fencing. So ring fencing means Wayne's business has got nothing to do with Wilson, and Wilson's business has got nothing to do with Paige. So they're all independent of each other. So what binary means is taken that structure and basically picked it up and put it onto the one side and put it onto the other side. As Paige was saying, you're sharing a leg. So in other words, um, your upline is sharing the same leg as a whole leg running down. And that's why in the binary system, people start to earn money a lot quicker because of the people having a shared leg instead of individual from each other.
I think that's why also I regularly refer to us as a team,
A
because
team, yeah.
there's a synchronicity to the efforts that we bring and the number of people that are able to benefit from them.
Mm. So, Heloise, look at the beginning part. If you look at similar to what Paige was doing this evening, the conversation plan 101 basics. What you can do is just go one or two slides back, and that's where I show the difference between unilevel and binary, and then you'll understand why we've got the two legs. It's the most powerful thing you've ever seen. Sometimes also, this is with absolutely anything in life. Listen, the first time I saw the word binary, let me tell you, it went completely over my head. I did not understand what it meant at all. Sometimes you can read it and watch it, still goes over your head. It's once you start actively not over analyzing, because analysis can also cause paralysis. So we've got to be very careful of that, of going, I need to know everything before I get started. What you've got to do is just follow the lead, get onto the trainings, keep plugged in, and you sign up a person on the left, you look in the back office. You sign up a person on the right, you check the back office. So you've got to be, like Paige was saying, I love what she said, keep going back into your back office. And once you start to see the structure, sometimes you've got to visibly see it, because we can do it on a diagram now, and we can write it on a whiteboard. That means nothing until you have personally signed a person up and you see, and then you helping this person and they sign up their first person and you watch how it grows. All of a sudden, the pennies start to drop one by one, and you go, "Oh my heck!" And let me tell you something. When when you see how powerful this is, you've heard me say this before. You're going to have life wave insomnia, and that's from excitement. And all I can say is, thank goodness we've got a patch for insomnia if you need it, even if it's excitement keeping
I
you
can
awake.
attest.
So, oh, thanks, Louise. I saw your little heart. I'm glad we helped there. Paige, fantastic, fantastic. Before letting you close off, I just want to tell you everybody a very quick story to give you a little bit of perspective on how did Paige get to be sitting here on the screen tonight from Belgium. I'll tell you exactly how this all actually started, just to give you a bit of perspective. So it was beginning of okay. So as you guys know, I joined LifeWave on the 24th of November 2022. So I've been part of LifeWave for 15 months. And last year, I signed up a person by the name of Phil that I've known for a couple of years. And it was about March, April. Phil phones me up and says, Chris, I believe you know Marlena from a couple of years ago. And I said, yes, Marlena, she's on the Loving Life community channel. I said, how is she doing? She said, Marlena's not good. I said, wow, what's wrong? She said, last time you saw her, I said, that was about 3 years ago. She was walking on crutches. She said, at the moment, Marlena's legs have content. She actually cannot walk. She's in a wheelchair. And I'm like, oh my word, I didn't know that. And I told her about the patches, and she wanted to talk to you. So I'll never forget. It was a Saturday afternoon after the patch party in Bryanston. I phoned Marlena, and she's like, "Oh, Chris, so nice to hear from you. Phil told me about these little magic patches that you've got. Can you tell me about it?" I said, "Listen, are you still living in Krugersdorp?" She said, "Yes." I said, "I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to come and visit you." Lucinda and I both got into the car Monday morning, and we drove to Krugersdorp. It's about a 45-minute drive from where we live. And we got to Marlena's house on Monday morning, 10 o'clock. And Marlena opened up double garage. And when Marlena opened the garage, she was walking on a walker. She was literally shuffling. Marlena couldn't even walk. And you should have seen the pain that she had in her face. So long story short, we patched her like a Dalmatian. We put Ice Wave on her knees. Now, Marlena had 21 operations. She's got no cartilage on her knees. She had polio when she was a child. And she goes for cortisone injections, muscle anti-inflammatories, and Marlena wasn't able to walk. So we patched her, Ice Wave X39, Ice Wave X39. Like I say, we patched her legs like anything. And guys, on Thursday afternoon, Marlena phoned me and said, please, can you take me to Clearwater Mall to go to Capitec? I want to raise my bank limit. And I went to go see her at lunchtime on Friday. Marlena came walking to the car with a smile on her face. It's completely turned Marlena's life around. So this is what this beautiful product has done. You know, when you've got a product that works and it's patented, this is network marketer's dream come true. Come true. So what happened is now, so Marlena has got this left leg, okay? So she signed up a guy named Carlane, and she's on a shared left leg as me. So whatever I'm doing on my left leg all counts for Marlena as well. She was like, Chris, where do these people come from? Say thank you from above. That's the beauty of a spillover. The spillover is, well, when you grasp that. So then what happened was Marlena signed up. Marlena signed up a friend of hers that signed up a friend in Botswana by the name of Robin in October last year. September, October. Robin and I, we talk very often. Passionate, loves the product, loves the business. Robin lives in Botswana and had to come to South Africa in December, in the middle of December, to a fundraising function in a place called Graaff-Reinet, of all places in the Eastern Cape. So Robin flew from Botswana and met us at the City Lodge at the OR Tambo. She had to get the connecting flight to go to Port Elizabeth to get a rental car to go to Graaff-Reinet. Right. So we meet Robin for the first time. We have dinner with her. This is December last year, guys. So Marlena's got this runaway leg. She's got this left leg that is going absolutely berserk. The points are accumulating. She's sitting on about 100, 150,000, 200,000 points accumulating there. The right leg, she's trying to get going, sign up a few people here and there, but nobody that's like really run with this, right? But the amount of money that Marlena was earning, she was earning enough every month to cover the cost of her patches, and she was making maybe $100 a week. Okay. Now, Marlena is 72, 73 years old. She's on pension. And so very quickly, the cost of her products were covered. So what happened is Robin was in Graaff-Reinet, and there is a lady by the name of Sandy Ashfield, which is Paige's aunt that was limping. And Robin walked up to Robin walked up to Sandy and said, I've noticed you limping. What happened? She said she tore her Achilles heel and she hasn't been able to walk properly for 9 months. Robin patched Sandy on the Achilles heel. The next day, it was a 2-day function, so she patched her on the first day. The next day, she was able to walk and said to Robin, what the hell are in these little stickers you put on me? Yeah. So long story short, in a very short time frame, now Sandy is a runner. She's run the Comrades many times, and she got a couple of patches, came back to South Africa, and back to Joburg, and Sandy came to one of the first presentations we had in Bryanston about the 4th or 5th of January. Sandy came to the presentation, had a look and said, oh, my hat, this makes sense. I'm signing up at Diamond. And what's happened is Sandy is knocking this completely out the ballpark. She signed up Paige, her niece. Paige is knocking this out the ballpark, and the most amazing, beautiful passion and energy I've ever seen. But let me tell you what's happened to Marlena's right leg. Marlena's right leg has exploded. And I kept saying to Marlena for the last 8, 9 months, just be patient. Have faith. The amount of times I said to Marlena, have faith. All we do is planting seeds, planting seeds. It will come. It will come. Just be patient. And it happens. It takes one person on each leg can change your life forever. And that's the beauty of this industry. And Marlena's points have gone through the roof. Her income went to $300 for the week. Then it went up to $700 for the week. She's now earning about $1,000 a week. That's her passive income, where she was earning $50 a week. It went from $50 a week. She's now earning over $1,000 a week. Marlena sent me a voice note 3 weeks ago, and she was crying on a voice note with gratitude. She said, Chris, I've been a school teacher my whole life. The highest income I ever earned in my entire life was 7,500 Rand. That's the highest income I ever earned. Marlena's earning nearly 80,000 Rand a month, a pensioner, 72 years old. And she was crying on the phone with the gratitude of what this company, the product, and what this beautiful industry is able to do for people. So all I want to say is, guys, sometimes you might feel like you just want to give up. You're feeling tired. You're feeling frustrated. It's normal. It happens. It happens in life. You got to understand we're participating in this game called life, and you're going to get curveballs. Things are going to get thrown at you. It's normal. That's life. Do you know what? We have a beautiful support structure of like-minded and like-hearted people that are all here to help each other and pick us up when we're feeling down. When you're up, call down. When you're down, call up. And that's what we're all here to help each other. And this is just the most beautiful industry I've ever seen in my life, and it's changing people's lives. And if you think about it, when people say something nasty about the industry, I get quite offensive because people have just got, as Paige was saying in the beginning of the call, it's misinformation. And when people realize that this industry is in its integrity of redistribution of wealth, giving money back to the people and not making these large corporations even more wealthier and wealthier. This is giving money back to the people that are doing the work and are sharing this amazing product on this journey. I don't know where this came from. I just needed to share this tonight and just give people perspective. And that is how Paige has ended up on this call this evening, training the binary. You've done a beautiful job, Paige. Wow. I cannot wait for next week. I cannot wait for next week for you to do the next part of the training. So, guys, I hope you all got something out of the call this evening. Just don't give up. Just don't give up. The miracle is closer than what you think. Lucinda made a comment the other day. I'm sure you've all seen that picture of that person digging in the little cave,
Oh,
digging in
yeah.
the cave, digging, 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 and there's that big diamond, and digging, 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 and it's about this far, and you get the person turning around. You might be this far away. You've been axing, you've been axing, you've been digging this hole, digging this hole, digging this hole, digging this hole, digging this hole. You're this close to the breakthrough. You turn around and you start walking. Don't let that happen to you. Just that last little bit of a push. And guys, your life will turn around. I think how my life turned around in the last 15 months. And we walk every morning for an hour. And all we do for the first half an hour of our day is we give gratitude to our Creator, saying thank you for how our life has turned around and how we're able to pay it forward and to help more people on this incredible journey. So, Paige, if you'd like to say the last couple of words in closing off this beautiful training this evening.
Well, I have to. Can we just keep speaking about this? Can we just keep going? Because I could be here until, tomorrow morning if we have an audience. Um, I think in closing, maybe I'll just do what Chris just mentioned and express gratitude for everybody who has helped me and poured into me. And I was an emotional wreck when I left Chris and Lucinda yesterday because these are two people who don't and didn't know much about my life story and my own personal difficulties. And that's not because I don't want to share them, but I've literally only known you for 2 months, and I've had to kind of carve out time with you when and where I can. But what it's done for me, my sense of purpose is possibly the most powerful thing that I will take away from this LifeWave journey. And so much of that is linked with how it has helped the people I care about the most, my granddad, my aunt, my husband, my mom. And it's truly been life-changing. It's been what the definition of life-changing is. And so thank you for people who continue to pour into me, and I stand ready to pour into all of you. So you are welcome to knock on my door, and I will help you in the very best way that I can. And the last thing that I'll just say is that it is both my personal and professional opinion as a CA that this is an unmatched business opportunity. And if you are looking for something to generate an additional income, I will professionally tell you as a CA that I think you are in the right place. I've seen many business plans and I've seen many business structures and models. But this quite literally is like a business in a box. You sign up, you open up your box, and everything that you need is there. And so if you're having a hard time, rest assured, I have had them and I continue to have them too on this journey. But these hard times are different than the hard times I've felt climbing the corporate ladder, dealing with a very aggressive and profit-driven business environment. This is different. And so if you're ever doubting that, I want to assure you that you're in the right place and that this is the right place to start building from, if that's what you're looking for. But yes, sending you all so much love, so much gratitude, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye. Lots of love. Bye.
Love you guys. Night, everybody. Bye bye.